Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the First World War. I'm Mike B, and today we're finally going to start talking about Imperial Germany. Now before we get started, the reason I was able to acquire this tunic for these videos that I'm going to be now making for a long time was because of my supporters on Patreon. So to all who donated and made this possible and voted on what I was going to be spending it on for the channel, thank you so much. This is amazing. I'm really excited about doing this. And I'll get into a separate video of me talking about the actual tunic itself. But it wouldn't be possible without my patrons because, again, I can't afford to be dumping that much money into my channel. But because of crowdfunding, it's possible now for me to teach you about Imperial German stuff and kind of give you a visual representation to aid in that teaching. So thanks again, patrons, Patreon supporters, and we'll move on. So consider becoming a supporter on there to see more cool stuff like this. Now, this is going to be sort of an opinion video, and there's going to be some truth to it as well. I'll definitely say which part is my opinion because I don't believe in stating your opinion as a fact. I try to avoid that as much as possible, but like anyone, I'm human and whatever. I'll stop at the tangent. So basically, as you can see in the title, I figured a very appropriate way to start off the German part of this series was to address the question, did Germany start World War I? And it's a really commonly misunderstood and very incorrectly taught thing that, yeah, everybody thinks, especially in America, if you don't know anything about history and what you've learned in school, you're going to more than likely have this idea that Germany started World War I because of the aftermath and what happened after. But I'm going to take you to 1914 right now. And we're gonna just kind of lay out some facts. This is gonna be a brief overview of how it got started. If you want to actually, I think the best way to explain to somebody who doesn't really know how the First World War started, go type in Google if World War I was a bar fight, and then go look at that. That's a pretty funny but accurate kind of depiction of what happened in 1914. Now, Germany, believe it or not, was not the aggressor at the beginning of the First World War. Germany was focused on becoming an economic and somewhat of a military and naval powerhouse in Europe. They were, at that point, it consisted of a bunch of nation states like Prussia, Bavaria, Saxony, other states like that, Brandenburg. So it wasn't necessarily a unified Germany yet, but with the outbreak of the First World War, it became a unified Germany, which I'll talk about in a different video. So that's what their focus was on, is becoming militarily and economically relevant in the world's kind of game. And they were on their way to doing so. Their industry was becoming probably some of the best in Europe. They were becoming more wealthy. They were starting to export goods. Their navy was actually increasing in size. So the German people, it seems, would not really want to go to a war because why would you stymie all that progress? Well, their little cousin with some anger issues and ego issues, Austria-Hungary, decided that they wanted to be imperialistic within Europe. And at that point in history, in the early 1900s, after the Franco-Prussian War in 1870, that was the last big land grab from one of the major powers within like Western Europe. And what happened was Austria-Hungary decided to go down into the Balkans and kind of put their nose where it didn't belong, to unite and annex basically more land for this massive empire that was not doing so hot as it is because of all these different ethnic groups and cultures and religions that they kind of just said, okay, you're now Austro-Hungarian. So basically they were being the only ones really that were imperialistic at that point. Everybody was kind of just trying to kind of do their own thing and make money. That's basically what it was. They wanted to be prosperous. They wanted their quality of life to improve. Austria-Hungary wanted more land, and that's really what it boiled down to. Now, that's not saying there was no imperialism at that point. It just wasn't taking place in Europe for the most part, except for Austria-Hungary. It was taking place in like Africa and Asia and stuff, like with Great Britain and Germany and France and everything. But that's not a cause of the First World War. Now, Serbia is like, we really don't want to be part of the empire, but we're not ethnically Austrian, we're not ethnically Hungarian, we're Slavic people, and we're kind of doing our own thing. And Austria-Hungary kept pressing the issue, and they just kept trying to send more diplomats and members of government and all that stuff in the royal family. And eventually it escalated up to where Franz Ferdinand, the heir to the throne, goes to Serbia and ends up getting assassinated. Now, I mean, this is a very, very brief macro overview. So he gets assassinated, and apparently Austria-Hungary act like they were surprised, even though there was a bunch of warning signs and people telling them, hey, don't go here because you're going to get killed. They acted like it was a surprise and, whatever. And so they basically said, you guys will bring these people to justice, whoever did this. And then they kind of altered the deal. It was kind of like Darth Vader, if you will. It keeps altering his deal. Pray I don't alter it any further. Well, they basically gave Serbia 30 days to come up with these guys. And in that time, they also said, well, we're going to send our officers to lead this investigation because we don't think you guys care about it or are capable of it. Basically, it was a bunch of this, we don't know how to deal with us being an idiot because we can do no wrong, so we're going to blame the little guy. Well, the little guy's always got a really big brother. And their big brother, Serbia's big brother, happened to be Russia at that point. Now, ethnically and culturally, they're Slavic people. That was a big deal because the Austro-Hungarians, part of them were Slavic people, but not the whole empire. So that had its own set of issues and stuff that we'll get into. So basically, Austria-Hungary, Serbia, and Russia were the first three that were involved in the First World War. Because Serbia said, hey, Russia, Austria-Hungary is talking about invading us and basically war. Will you have our back if that happens? And Russia says, absolutely, little brother, we got you. Well, Austria-Hungary also has a little brother or big brother, depending on how you look at it. Geographically, little brother. Economically, socially, and everything else, big brother, Germany. So Austria-Hungary says, oh, shit, well, we can't take on the Russians alone. That's way too many people because we're going to be focused on screwing Serbia up and wiping them off the face of the earth. So, hey, Wilhelm, you got our back, right? They're talking about war. Russia says they're going to get involved. And if Russia gets involved, it's more than likely France is going to get involved. So we should probably get an alliance going, blah, blah, blah. You got our back, we go back a long ways. And Wilhelm, without really consulting anybody that he should have, said, we got your back, little brother, go for it. Basically, in a sense, that's what happened. There's a lot more details to it, but I'm trying to keep this video around 10 minutes so your attention span doesn't kind of wander. So Germany as a whole, I don't think was to blame for the First World War starting. I don't think they were the sole aggressor in the war. I think there was a lot of people who really made a lot of big mistakes and caused a lot of suffering unnecessarily. Every war is unnecessary in my opinion, but it's like the hippie, trippy pacifist kind of side of me. But I understand how they happen. And Germany itself, I don't think really wanted more, but Wilhelm pretty much threw his entire country under the bus by just basically saying, yep, we've got your back, like go for it. You need us to open up another front to keep France out of there? We'll do it. Without really talking to anybody or seeing if it was a good idea. So, sure, was it dumb? Yes. An egotistical piece of shit leader at that point is responsible for that country getting involved in the war. Actually, a few egotistical piece of shit leaders. But if you go back, who were the first three parties involved? Austria-Hungary being the aggressor, in my opinion. I can do another video on that. You can disagree with me all you want. I think they were the aggressor. Sure, Serbia is the one that fired the first shot, technically, but if Austria-Hungary hadn't been there in the first place and trying to annex them, what reason would they have to shoot their members of the monarchy? So, anyway, I can do that in another video. Basically, in this video, I'm not defending the actions of what happened in 1914, because I think everybody was to blame in one way, shape, or form. I would put most of the blame for starting, if not all, of the First World War, starting the First World War on Austria-Hungary. And again, I can make another video about that. You can disagree with me, that's fine. But Germany, in my opinion, was not the ones who started, or were not the ones who started the First World War. So, that being said, we've just begun on the German series, but I figured I'd kind of pay a little homage to what was going on and kind of set the record straight on who actually started the war, who started it, Everybody's curious about that. Germany was not really the main aggressor at the very beginning. They were just kind of misled by somebody who had no thought process and did not do anything but wanted to prove that he was a fucking powerhouse, and that a war is a great way to do that, to show the world that you are relevant. And well, that's what happened. So anyway, I'm going to cut this video off because I've been rambling long enough. It's kind of just a video. Maybe you learned something, maybe you already knew this, but I figured I'd show off the new thing from Patreon supporters, and you'll be seeing this a lot, and I'll explain what this is and all that stuff, and I'll explain what this is. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now I've got a World War I United States uniform, or not uniform, but when I say uniform, I just say at least the tunic and headgear. So I got a World War I US setup, World War I Austro-Hungarian early war setup, and now a World War I Imperial German early to mid-war to late war setup going on, to be able to teach you guys about these weird topics, because World War I is very often forgotten. I'm gonna hopefully keep expanding and go to the Commonwealth forces, hopefully French, and go into delve into those. But for now, we're gonna stick with those 3 countries because that's what I have to show you guys and teach you with. Again, my Patreon supporters are the reason I have this, to show you guys. So if you consider becoming a supporter on there, it's just $1 a month minimum. $5 a month or more, you can get on Discord, which is like a gaming communications app where I'm on there pretty much all the time, and it's very easy to get a hold of me on there. But anyway, if you just do $1 a month, you get access to cool exclusive content. Again, I do take votes on what you guys want me to spend your donations on, so you do have a say in what it goes to, but it all goes to benefit the channel. I think this is going to benefit the channel quite a bit because I get to make an entire endless series about World War I Imperial Germany. So thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate it. I really am excited to get this part going. I just cannot stress that enough. So, all right, I'll stop rambling. Thanks for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. We'll see you on the next episode of the First World War.